This episode of K12 Admin Connect is brought to you by Synetic and K12TechLeaders.com.
All right. Good morning, everybody. I've got 11 on the dot. I know people are still trickling in, but let's go ahead and give it up. Appreciate you all being attentive, and we're ready to join us for November's K12 Admin Connect. As a reminder, I'm Austin Curtis, Business Development Executive over here at Synetic, i.e. the sales guy to come in and just offer a little bit of insight into our services before handing it off to our great colleague, Mr. Joe Smizer, Director of Google Services. As you think about your asset refreshes, as you think about your endpoint deployments, as you think about getting more money back on your IT assets, that's where we come in. We can handle those deployments. And I want to be able to provide a quick shout out to Blue Valley School District, 13,000 Chromebooks, 650 or 520, technology cards going out today. We're very happy to be partnered with you all, and we appreciate being able to be part of such a successful deployment. When we're thinking about warranty repairs, both in warranty for any of your Apple needs, your Lenovo, HP, Dell, the list goes on, but then also your out of warranty needs. Work here to be able to assist. We can send slot boxes. You can drop them off if you're local. We can handle any of those repairs all the way to the board level. And then finally, of course, we have that IT asset disposition. So if you're like me, I'm going through some of my fall cleaning right now, trying to understand what's in my apartment that I need to get out. That might be what your tech closet is feeling as well. That's where Synetic is able to come in at the most. We provide that white glove recovery service where we're packing, we're palletizing, we're loading up all of the assets. We're providing you reporting every step of the way. We're able to destroy or sanitize any data. So that's going to be any private information, confidential information, or personally identifiable information of your students and staff. Think of that eradicated. We then have that capability to resell any of those assets, whether it is a laptop, a Chromebook, an iPad, or even some of that network gear, that those firewalls, those switches, those access points. We even get into security cameras. Well, not to mention anything server related, we have that capability to not only wipe that data, but to resell those assets. And at the very least, we can always recycle effectively to make sure that it doesn't end up in a landfill. Without further ado, I'm going to pass it back over to Mr. Joe Smizer, our Director of Google Services, so he can go ahead and take us through the wonderful world of our K12 Admin Connect. Mr. Joe, your time.
Awesome. Thank you, Austin. All right. Well, hey there, and welcome to the November 2024 edition of the K12 Admin Connect webinar series, which, as Austin mentioned, is proudly presented by Synetic. My name is Joe Smizer, and I am really excited to have you with us today. So today we're going to take a look at all the new features, announcements, and changes in Google Workspace for Education, and then we'll discuss what those changes are and how they may impact you, your users, and your school. Google introduced several new features in the admin console, as well as inside of Gemini in the last month. We'll take a look at those features, as well as other new features and beta programs introduced in October. As always, if you have a question, feel free to drop it in the chat. I will do the best I can to answer those questions. And if I miss your question, remind me, because we'll have a chance for some Q&A at the end. As a little bit of a reminder or housekeeping, this webinar is being recorded. That recording, as well as the slide deck and other resources, will be posted on K12TechLeaders.com later today. Additionally, you can catch the recording on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. All right, so with the housekeeping out of the way, let's dive in and get started. Now we'll get started with this question. Again, I would love for our time to be shaped by you. If there are questions that you have, if there are tips that you've learned in the last month, or just a frustration that you're encountering with Google Workspace in your domain, drop it in the chat. We'd love to discuss it and help you out if we can, or maybe share your expertise with the rest of the community here. But again, the question that I would love for you to respond to, what Google Workspace for Education tips or tricks do you have? What Google Workspace for Education questions, tips, or tricks do you have? Again, I'd encourage you to respond using the chat. We'll take a look at these later today, but I just want to prompt you with these so that you can start populating the chat. All right, while you're doing that, we'll dive in and we'll take a look at what's new in November of 2024. And we'll get started with the new feature inside of Google Classroom. So last year, Google Classroom introduced the ability for teachers to mark student assignments as excused rather than assigning a numerical score. Additionally, your educators were given the ability to manually mark assignments as missing or complete and automatically assign a default draft score as well. These updates provided your staff with increased flexibility in grading assignments and classwork. Building on these improvements, Google Classroom now allows your educators to include missing and excused grades when exporting their grades to your student information system. To utilize this feature, administrators must first establish a connection between their SIS and Google Classroom. Then once connected, your teachers can then export those grades directly from the Grades tab in Classroom to the SIS. Detailed instructions on how to connect your student information system and export grades are available in the Google Classroom Help Center. This is limited to users with Google Workspace for Education Plus or who have the Teaching and Learning Upgrade, and your school must use one of the supported student information systems. Those systems include Infinite Campus, PowerSchool, Aspen, and Skyward. But I would, again, caution you because even then that doesn't capture all of the supported editions. I know there are some older editions of Skyward, for example, that may not support this feature. If you have questions, I would definitely reach out to your student information system. All right, let's keep going. We'll discuss some new features inside the admin console, some new features for you. Google is simplifying the application of context-aware access policies by providing you with new insights and recommendations. Again, if you're unfamiliar, context-aware access policies allow you to set up granular login policies and security policies so that you can really have fine-tuned control over who's signing into your domain. This new feature will proactively identify potential security gaps and suggest pre-built context-aware access levels to address them. These insights will be available to users who haven't yet deployed any context-aware access policies, offering pre-built solutions to enhance their security posture. Then once you deploy, recommendations will be placed in monitor mode, allowing you to observe the policy's impact on your users over time while still preventing any unintended consequences there. And you can review all these in the context-aware access logs. And again, I mentioned any user really is going to be any domain, and it's going to be limited to super admin access. So it's not something that your students or staff have to worry about. It's something that only you can see as a Google Workspace administrator. This update empowers admins to customize recommendations before widespread application. Further, you as the Google Workspace administrator will receive quarterly emails containing insights as well as actionable recommendations. The streamlined approach to context-aware access enables you to strengthen your security measures by proactively addressing potential vulnerabilities with ease. By leveraging these insights as well as recommendations, you can ensure granular access controls based on user identity and context, minimizing risks without relying on traditional VPNs. And again, this is a feature available with Google Workspace for Education Plus, and it's available now. As we keep going, the Gemini app is now a core service in most editions. This move aims to empower users with an AI-powered assistant for increased productivity, all within a secure and compliant environment. So the Gemini app with enterprise-grade data protections is now available to Google Workspace for Education domains, depending on the edition that you have. This integration ensures that the Gemini app is covered under existing Google Workspace agreements and receives the same level of technical support as other Google Workspace services. Furthermore, Google emphasizes its commitment to data privacy by ensuring that user interactions with Gemini are not used to train AI models without explicit permissions. And this update also streamlines the admin console settings for the app, simplifying user access management for administrators. By expanding the availability of the app, Google is also broadening the reach of Workspace extensions. Currently in beta, we'll talk about some beta programs later in the webinar. Real fast, I want to point out when the setting is unchecked. So when this is unchecked as it is in the screen here, Gemini for Workspace licenses let me rephrase that. When the setting is unchecked as it is on your screen right here, the Gemini app as a core service with enterprise grade data protection will be enabled only for your users with Gemini licenses and users with the qualifying Google Workspace edition. So again, Google Workspace for Education Plus in this case. When the setting is checked, the Gemini app will be enabled for all users specifically. Again, going back to Gemini for Education Workspace licensed users and users with a qualifying Workspace edition. If your school doesn't have a qualifying workspace edition, so for example, you have Google Workspace for Education Fundamentals, your users can access the Gemini app as an additional service. It's not counted as a core service. All right, so we recently completed a Google Workspace audit for a large school district. As a part of this audit, we tried to review their Drive activity for suspicious activity. So things like file types that were either malicious or inappropriate in a school setting, as well as data loss through external file shares and more. The issue we ran into, however, was how do we work with data at scale? When we exported their Drive activity for the semester, it actually broke GAM, and the investigation tool returned almost 100 CSV files, each with something like 200,000 lines of data. The data was useful. It was super useful, but there was simply too much of it for us to be able to review it in an efficient way. And that's where Google Drive inventory reporting comes in. So Google Drive inventory reporting is now available to all users, offering significant benefits for Google Workspace for Education administrators. Again, I say all users, this is a feature of Education Plus and Education Standard. This feature empowers you to gain deeper insights into how data is being used in your domain, as well as how it's being accessed and classified. By exporting comprehensive Drive inventory reports directly to BigQuery, you have the ability to enhance data security by identifying potential security risks and vulnerability. By analyzing data access patterns and user activity, you can also ensure compliance. Through this, you can maintain compliance with FERPA and other regulatory requirements by monitoring data access and storage practices, and you can streamline data management and improve data governance all through this one workflow. So Google has introduced enhancements to Drive inventory reporting, including adherence to data region settings for increased data sovereignty, detailed information on file creators and permissions, and comprehensive audit logging for enhanced transparency and accountability. These updates provide you with powerful tools to effectively manage and protect your data within the Google Workspace environment. If you have Google Workspace for Education Plus, I would strongly encourage you to consider deploying this new feature. All right, as we keep going, in March of 2024, Google launched an open beta for a new data migration service, enabling the transfer of email data between Google Workspace accounts, Gmail accounts, or IMAP-enabled mail servers. This service included Delta migrations, intelligently transferring only new or modified emails to prevent duplication. Now this enhanced data migration experience is generally available, offering administrators a more secure, more reliable, and more efficient way to migrate email data. The streamlined migration process is accessible directly within Google's admin console, and you as the super administrator can find detailed information and step-by-step instructions in the Help Center to guide them through migrating email data from various source accounts. The service simplifies the often complex task of email migration, minimizing disruptions and ensuring data integrity throughout the entire process. Again, I would highlight right now, this service works for email only. It won't migrate other things like Drive data, calendar events, or things like that. It's just for Gmail data. Okay, so with that, we'll pivot a little bit and we'll talk about some new features available inside of Google's Gemini. Again, that's their generative AI. As we take a look at Gemini, Google has expanded the availability of its innovative Gmail Q&A feature, powered by Gemini, to iOS devices. So in the past, this launched on Android, but it's now available to iOS devices. And this functionality allows users to ask Gemini natural language questions about their inbox, retrieving information and insights without leaving Gmail. Users can ask specific questions about emails like filtering messages by sender, or if it's been read or unread, summarizing email threads, and even getting answers to general search queries all within their inbox. You can see an example of it on your screen there on the right. This expansion to iOS devices further enhances user productivity by providing a seamless, intuitive way to interact with Gmail. And again, by leveraging the power of Gemini, users can quickly and efficiently find the information they need, streamline their workflow, and maximize their productivity. And again, this is on Android and iOS currently. I would imagine it would come to the web soon. Additionally, Google Meet now offers enhanced content protection with a new watermarking feature. This is available to Google Workspace customers with a Gemini add-on. This functionality adds a subtle text overlay to presented content and video feeds. The watermark displays the meeting code and the viewer's email address, discouraging unauthorized recording and distribution of meeting content. This feature provides an additional layer of security, safeguarding both shared presentations and participant video feeds. So again, maybe we're having a sensitive conversation on Google Meet about a student or IEP data, disciplinary data with parents, Or maybe this is something that, hey, this is an internal meeting of the school board. It's an executive session. We don't want this getting shared externally. We would be able to see at a quick glance if this was recorded and posted somewhere else, because whoever recorded it would have that email embedded in the video itself. And so we'd be able to track this down quickly. This feature provides an additional layer of security, safeguarding both shared presentations and participant video feeds. Meeting hosts and co-hosts have the flexibility to enable watermarking at any point during a meeting, and it will be visible to all participants using the latest Chrome browser, Android or iOS apps, and the Google Meet hardware. However, it's worth pointing out here that watermarking is disabled during meeting recordings or live stream to ensure compatibility and avoid interference. This new feature empowers users to protect their valuable meeting content and maintain confidentiality. And lastly, inside of Gemini at least, Google is enhancing Gmail's email composition tools with updates to the Polish shortcut and expanded availability of the Help Me Write feature. On the web, Help Me Write will now appear in empty email drafts, providing users with AI-powered assistance to start composing. The Polish shortcut, available for drafts with 12 or more words, automatically refines the email's tone and style with a single click or keyboard shortcut. On mobile devices, the Help Me Write shortcut remains available for empty drafts, while the Polish shortcut is now accessible for drafts, again, exceeding 12 words. Swiping on the shortcut text instantly polishes the email, and users can further refine it using options like formalize, elaborate, or shorten. These updates streamline email composition, enabling users to quickly create polished and professional messages across both web and mobile platforms. And if you struggle with, spelling or grammar like I do, it's a great way to clean up your email before it's sent to the end user. Okay, let's talk about a couple new features announced for ChromeOS devices in the last month. And we'll get started with a new recording app. So with ChromeOS 130, which is in the process of being rolled out now, as well as through the next week or so, Google will launch a new versatile audio recorder app available for Chromebooks. And again, this was originally marketed as being for Chromebook Plus devices. It's actually going to be available for all Chromebooks, including those used in K12 schools. This app offers powerful features like real-time speech-to-text transcription, even offline, and a user-friendly interface inspired by the Pixel Recorder app. Students and teachers can easily record lectures, presentations, or group discussions, and then utilize the searchable transcripts to review key information, adjust playback speed, and export audio or text for sharing and studying. While AI-powered summarization is exclusive to Chromebook Plus devices, all Chromebooks benefit from core recording and transcription tools. The app has potential to be a valuable asset in K12 classrooms, supporting diverse learning styles and promoting accessibility. It also enhances student engagement with recorded educational content. With ChromeOS 130 rolling out soon, this new recorder app promises to be a helpful tool for both students and staff. Again, one of the things that I think is really cool, I used to be in high school journalism. With this, you could record an interview or a conversation, and it will actually detect the different speakers during the conversation. So you can see in the notes and the transcription exactly what person said what. You don't have to worry about, can I attribute this to Jim or James? I know just by looking at the notes who said what. As we keep going, GoodNotes, which is a popular note-taking app, is bringing its intuitive handwriting experience to the web, offering exciting new possibilities for K12 classrooms that have touch-enabled Chromebooks. Students and teachers can now enjoy the freedom of digital handwriting, creating equations, mind maps, and diagrams on a flexible canvas with a variety of templates from blank pages to graph paper and Cornell notes. GoodNotes supports diverse learning styles and note-taking preferences. Furthermore, I'll point out here, GoodNotes facilitates collaboration by allowing users to easily share notes and invite others to view, edit, and comment. This feature can enhance student engagement and teamwork, fostering interactive learning experiences. There is an exclusive offer for Chromebooks, including 3 months of free access. GoodNotes also presents a compelling opportunity for K12s to explore the benefits of digital handwriting and collaborative note-taking. All right. And then lastly, inside of ChromeOS, a few other updates here. So ChromeOS is introducing some new exciting AI-powered features for Chromebook Plus devices to enhance productivity and accessibility for everyone, including students and staff. We'll get started with the Help Me Read feature. Help Me Read empowers users to quickly summarize web pages, articles, and PDFs with a simple right click, making it easier to digest information and complete research tasks. Students can use this feature to grasp key concepts from lengthy text, while teachers can efficiently review resources and prepare lesson materials. Additionally, the ability to ask follow-up questions fosters deeper understanding and critical thinking. Continuing on, Live Translate provides real-time translated captions for any on-screen content in over 100 languages, breaking down language barriers and promoting inclusivity in the classroom. This feature can help students who are learning English as a second language fully engage with video lessons, online presentations, and virtual meetings. Furthermore, enhanced video calls ensure clear communication and professional presentations with studio quality audio and automatic appearance enhancements. This can elevate the quality of online learning experiences, virtual parent-teacher conferences, and more. All right, so with that, we briefly talked about NotebookLM last month on the K12 Admin Connect. I want to take a slightly deeper dive today. If you're unfamiliar, NotebookLM is an experimental AI-powered tool from Google that transforms how your users learn and educate. It functions like a virtual research assistant within Google Docs, allowing users to ground their work in specific sources. By uploading documents, NotebookLM can then summarize factual topics, generate creative text formats, and answer questions comprehensively, all while citing the sources used. Currently, access to NotebookLM is limited to users in the United States. However, its potential applications for K12 are really exciting. So imagine students using NotebookLM to analyze complex historical documents, generate different creative text formats from source material for assignments, or receive tailored support based on their uploading learning materials. Teachers could leverage it to quickly summarize dense research papers, create diverse lesson plans grounded in specific educational resources, or even build personalized learning plans for individual students. As NotebookLM becomes more widely available, it promises to revolutionize learning and teaching by providing more access to AI-powered tools that foster deeper understanding. So now that we've kind of talked about what it is, I want to demonstrate it real fast. So I have created a notebook inside of NotebookLM, and we'll say that my history class is discussing Quantrill's raid on Lawrence as a part of a Civil War project in American history. On the left, you can see the different sources that I've brought in. I've got PDF sources. I've got a Google Doc that I have some content in. I can also reference, in this case, YouTube videos and websites to grab data from. So as I start adding data to it, I can add additional sources by pasting in text, uploading files like PDFs. I can also upload MP3 files of podcasts. So maybe I want to capture a conversation or podcast and get information from that. I can bring in MP3 files and other resources like we mentioned already, Google Docs, Google Slides, websites, and YouTube. From there, inside of our notebook guide, I can use that to create things like frequently asked questions. And so as I look at this, what was Bleeding Kansas? It'll give me information on Bleeding Kansas based on the sources that I have. I can also see what caused it and things like that. I can also see additional suggested content like study guides. So as I look at study guides here, I can see short answer questions, and then I can see the answer key beneath it, as well as suggested essay questions and a glossary of key terms. You know, maybe I'm expected to take a U.S. history final exam here next month. I could throw all this data in here, and I could see at a quick glance recommended study guides and additional information. Lastly, it will also create podcasts for you based on the content in here. And so I've got a content or a podcast that I created here discussing the causes and the consequences of Quantrill's raid in this case. I'll just hit play. Hopefully you can hear a little bit of this. Again, I think it's pretty wild, the ability of AI here to create a conversation in a podcast between two voices that sound really, really genuine. And if I don't like it, I can come back and I can change this to say, you know, I create a podcast more on what were the causes of the raid, or what were the potential implications, or who was involved. Any specifics around it, I can tailor that podcast to fit the needs of what I want to find. And I can interact with this. If I want to say, who were the targets of Quantrill's raid, it will go through, look at all my sources that I have added to this notebook, and it will then generate a response based on the sources inside of it. And so we'll give this a moment to run. and then we'll give it one more moment to run. There we go. And so again, we can quickly see, all right, in this case, Senator James H. Lane, John Spear, Charles Robinson, and the Reverend Richard Cordley were the primary targets of this raid. And again, as we take a step back, just imagine, hey, I'm struggling with math, or I'm struggling with a foreign language, or anything like that. I can throw in some of these sources and help me prepare for class, or maybe help me prepare to teach the class or reach a specific learner. All right, as we slide back, we'll keep going a little bit and discuss a couple other new features real fast before we wrap up. Google Workspace is rolling out several updates to enhance user experience and productivity with valuable applications in K12 learning environments. Google Calendar on the web has received a refreshed design, improving navigation and usability. In Google Docs, the introduction of document tabs allows users to multitask seamlessly between different documents within a single browser window. This feature can be particularly useful for students working on research projects, comparing source materials, or collaborating on group assignments. And lastly, Forms now allows creators to request a rating from responders, providing valuable feedback on lessons, assignments, and school events. As we keep going, Google Workspace continues to evolve with new features aimed at enhancing productivity. They have updated the video player in Google Drive, providing a more streamlined and intuitive experience for accessing and viewing educational videos. Google Meet now offers automated recordings, transcripts, and note-taking capabilities, streamlining workflows for educators and students. So say we're teaching a virtual class. I know that I want to record this. I can go into Google Calendar and select the appropriate policy or setting so that it automatically records this presentation, so that I don't have to worry about doing it on the fly in front of students. And finally, the introduction of third-party smart chips in Google Sheets opens up new possibilities for data integration and analysis. On your screen, you can see it's pulling data from Canva, but students can now embed interactive elements from other applications, enhancing data visualization and facilitating dynamic projects. This feature can bring data to life, making learning more engaging and relevant. Again, some third-party apps that are already supported include Jira, Canva, Lucid, Loom, Whimsical, and Zoho projects, among several others. All right, as we wrap up today, I want to bring to your attention some current beta programs so that you can check them out, as well as get a sense for where Google might be going inside Google Workspace. The first beta program I want to bring to your attention is one around data classification. So Google Workspace is expanding its data classification capabilities by bringing classification labels in Gmail to open beta. Previously available for Google Drive, this feature allows organizations to categorize and protect sensitive information within emails according to their specific guidelines. By applying labels like sensitive or confidential to emails, Google Workspace administrators can enforce data loss prevention policies and control the flow of sensitive information. This functionality enhances data security and helps you comply with data governance policies. You as the Google Workspace administrator can create new classification labels or extend existing ones from Drive to Gmail using the label manager in the admin console. They can also configure DLP rules based on these labels, triggering actions like blocking emails sent outside the organization or automatically applying labels based on content. End users can view and apply classification labels when composing emails on the web, promoting awareness and adherence to data handling policies. Again, this is a new beta. It's an open beta. For all of these data programs that I'm going to talk about over the next couple of minutes, I will make sure that I share the appropriate links and resources when it gets posted on K12techleaders.com later today. Okay, the second beta I want to make you aware of is one with the Policy API. So this is a new tool designed to simplify Google Workspace settings management for super administrators. The API provides programmatic access to information about service level settings and rule configurations, offering a comprehensive overview of security and compliance settings. By leveraging the Policy API, administrators can gain a holistic view of their workspace environment without navigating through numerous pages in the admin console. Initially, this was available as a read-only API. It allowed admins to audit various settings related to authentication, chat, classroom, docs, Drive, Gmail, and more. Additionally, the Policy API enables the review of DLP rules, including configurations, detectors, and alerts. The API aligns with Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA's, recommendations for securing cloud business applications, allowing customers to evaluate their workspace policies against CISA's secure configuration baselines. We talked about Google's new email migration service earlier in the webinar. To complement that new feature, Google is launching a new file migration service that's in open beta, allowing you to easily transfer files from OneDrive to Google Drive. This service, accessible through the admin console, will enable super administrators to migrate files and folders for up to 100 users simultaneously, preserving access, permissions, and shared memberships. The migration process involves connecting to the OneDrive account, defining the migration scope by selecting users, and then creating an identity map to link source and target accounts. The first-party migration solution streamlines the transition to Google Workspace, eliminating the need for third-party tools or complex infrastructure. It reduces administrative overhead and minimizes onboarding time. If you've ever considered or looked at Google's migration tool that they released a couple of years ago, it is incredibly complex, and you have to have multiple servers running, so it's expensive to run those servers, and it really is pretty complicated to get set up and to use. This all takes place through the admin console, and it's easy to set up and easy to use. All right, a couple more. So Google Workspace is enhancing its data loss prevention or DLP policies in Gmail with an update to its open beta. This update introduces synchronous DLP, providing users with instant notifications about potential DLP violations before emails leave their inbox. This real-time feedback helps your educators understand data security risks and promotes responsible information sharing. Additionally, a new warn action for DLP rules allows users to send potentially sensitive messages after acknowledging a risk, empowering them to make informed decisions while maintaining a layer of oversight. All right, and then lastly, Google Workspace is expanding the availability of extensions for its Gemini app, adding support for Google Calendar, Google Keep, and Google Tasks. These extensions, again, currently in open beta, allow Gemini to interact with other Google services, providing more contextual and relevant responses to user prompts. Users can now leverage Gemini to create calendar events, add reminders or tasks, and manage notes and lists all within the Gemini app interface. This expansion enhances the functionality and versatility of Gemini, enabling users to streamline their workflow and manage various tasks across different Google services. Okay, so with that, I'll open this up to you. What questions do you have regarding any of the topics that we've talked about? Or maybe it's a question that you had from the beginning of the webinar, something that has been a frustration inside of your domain. If any of those are true, I'd love for you to drop your questions or comments into the chat. While you're doing that, again, I want to bring a couple reminders to your attention. Be sure to check out K12techleaders.com. That's going to be where we post the recording, slide deck, and additional information for these open beta programs. That post will go online later this afternoon once the recording is done being processed. Additionally, if you have any questions or if you want to interact with K12 tech leaders from around the country, K12techleaders.com is your one-stop shop to do just that. All right. I don't see any questions at this time, so I'm going to wrap up this month's edition of the K12 Admin Connect webinar series. I can't thank you enough for being a part of this and taking time out of your busy schedule to hop in and learn a little bit more about all the new features inside of Google Workspace for Education. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next month on the K12 Admin Connect webinar.
Joe, it does look like we did receive one question from Tia Wharton. How are other schools handling Google Lens?
Oh, good catch, sir. I didn't see that come through. Yeah, I'm going to open that up to other people on the chat. I know this has been a frustration with other schools around the country, just having talked to them. How are you handling Google Lens inside of your domain? If you want to respond using the chat, I'll give you a couple moments to respond using the chat. I'll also highlight, we have spoken with Google engineers over the last month or so regarding this exact thing. And I know that Google will be introducing some additional controls to Chrome devices and Android devices, hopefully soon, to help you with Google Lens. But yes, I know it's a frustration right now. Zachary, with the really important question, have they given us a timetable? No, I haven't heard a timetable recently, but I will see if we can get some additional information. And I tell you what, Tia and Zachary, I will try to do my best to get an answer. And if I get an answer, I will include that in the email and post on K12 Tech Leaders that I post later today. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you next month.